now that we have COVID, and we all of us have locked ourselves with, I mean, even without a government order, but we are going less outside, and we are trying to do everything online, like how we are doing this interview online. So the education also has changed quite entirely. We never thought that our children will be learning from computer. So online education, how it is going to impact our children, and it is something totally new, not trained. Our children are not trained for that. We have to make them learn things, and uh, it is totally different. So how it is going to impact? This question is to Dr. Suvarna. So you can tell us how it is going to impact children and what parents have to do.
Okay, really, it's a very hypothetical question whether this technology at this point of time is really going to helpful for us or not. Is a hypothetical question because it has both the sides. Like it's a two sides. You need to see the disadvantages and advantages. Okay, one thing we are trying to protect our children inside. We're keeping our children safe and trying to get an education inside the home. That is okay. But the more you're getting exposed, the child is getting exposed to the screens. That's another fact. So you need to see at the both ends. The second, how the parents are monitoring, how we are monitoring, that is another issue. Whether the child is really using it in a right way or is how the monitoring part. Actually, this is a very new thing for especially below 15 years children, the school children. For college students, it's okay. There'll be online classes, or they're already used to log into some of the online courses. They might got used to it from a degree in other courses who are doing online courses. But for the school children, this is an entirely new concept. First thing, you have to look at the school atmosphere, which is not there, the monitoring, and the discipline is not there. Even in my house also, it's a bit difficult to monitor the kid at in the morning. Like they have to get up at school, like they'll get ready by 8:30 and they'll be out. But here, when the school is not there, they all got used to get up at very late hours. The school start. I mean, the online classes usually get started around 9 a.m. I think so for all the kids. So now still there are pets. Most of the parents are complaining me, I'm not able to handle because they are getting up very late, and sometimes they just sit with the online. They will be online, they're not listening to other classes most of the time. So here the monitoring part for the parents is a very difficult thing. And I know by 9 even, and 9 and 10 even, most of the parents who are working online has to be online. They have to log on to the things. So managing this is a very big, difficult thing. So what you have to do, the parents and the teacher and the students. Okay, let us speak about the kids now. So the parents and the teachers has to come together, discuss the thing if they get a chance, plan the schedule and make the schedule for the kids.
Okay.
So the one best thing, because they're the children, even from the teacher's side also, it is very difficult for the teacher to monitor all the students because the teacher will be on the board and sometimes the bandwidth is not good. If the internet connection is not good, they will be lost. And some students are not getting, most of the students are logging on with the mobiles specifically. And most of the parents are not, or most of the students are not equipped with the well-equipped equipment like the laptop and a desktop. So these two are the better equipment to log on. With mobile is also possibilities there, but in between if you get a call, they get disconnected and they lost the track actually. So parents have to take care of these things, like they should have a very good internet connection. They should make sure the child is attending the classes and how far they're learning, that they have to keep a lot of monitoring. This is an extra work for the parents.
Okay. So what do you have to say, Kiranmai? What are the nutritional inputs that we have to look into as a parent? Because now the screen time is also increased, and there'll be a lot of strain on eyes as well. So, and they are at home now. They won't eat in box. Okay, so they'll be at home. So, what do you advise? What do you say?
So basically, now in this current situation, like it's very critical, and parents are worried about the nutritional status of their children, because they're unable to monitor them because of the increased screen time, where kids are, snacking in front of the TV or, on screen for a longer time. So it is becoming actually a hassle for the parents. But what I believe in is, even in these tough times, it is important to ensure that they prepare a proper timetable for children as well as for themselves, and they have to go according to the timetable. And when it comes to nutrition, I feel that meal planning or menu planning plays a very major role, so that they can actually, parents can actually develop a cyclic menu, like a weekly menu for their children. And they should focus on the nutrition and health status of children. Like every 2 hourly, there should be some nutritious meals, because when children are at home, knowingly or unknowingly, they end up eating more than what their body actually requires. Like when they watch TV for a longer period of time, they end up eating more, or probably they end up eating less, because in the current situation, many kids are becoming emotionally upset, and due to like they are unable to meet their friends, and there is no social interaction. So all the online classes and all is something very new. Like in this pandemic, like in this situation, it is really difficult to actually cope up, both for the parents as well as for the children. But what I believe is, they can actually make maximum use of this opportunity in a better way. Like they can look at this situation, uh, they can actually see the brighter side of life. They have quality time to spend with their children. They can teach them so many wonderful, amazing things. And like instead of forcing children by telling what is good and what is bad related to food, they can make some interesting nutritious recipes. Like they should actually involve children in the grocery shopping, or probably they can actually ask them about the variety of fruits and vegetable intake per day, or on a weekly basis. They can involve children in trying to classify different types of vegetables, and they can make out some different recipes. Like weekly once, they can talk to their children about planning up a new healthy and a tasty recipe, like either as a snack item or like a complete meal replacement. What I believe is, like now for children actually, it's the growing age. So it is very important to energize themselves with a power-packed breakfast. Like breakfast is the first and the most important meal of the day. Earlier, there were complaints that due to limited time in the mornings and all, like the mothers used to just rush up in the kitchen and they don't have enough time to prepare breakfast, or probably the breakfast is not solid enough for the kid. But now, since the children are at home, the parents can actually prepare some interesting recipes, something which is nutritious and healthy, which is locally available. And they should ensure that the children are eating a balanced diet, which is really important. They should ensure that both the macronutrients and micronutrients are coming into their diet. Like when I talk about macronutrients, they should ensure the carbohydrates, proteins, fats. And when it comes to micronutrients, all the vitamins and minerals, and including fiber as well as water intake. So these 7 important nutrients should be included in their diet, and they have to be divided in such a way that the children should enjoy what they're eating. You cannot compel a child or force a child to eat something. You should ensure that they develop, or it's the parents' responsibility to cultivate healthy eating habits among children. So by involving them in a nicer way, probably parents can have a good interactive session with their children. And they should also like involve them by including all the colorful fruits and vegetables. They can make the diet more interesting. For example, there were many parents who come and complain about their children that they don't drink milk. So that has become a very big issue. So I tell them to make it very interesting. Like instead of just giving them plain milk, they can make it something like a dry fruit milkshake, or probably a fruit milkshake. It could be any fruit. They can make an avocado milkshake or an apple milkshake, something so that the child enjoys what he or she is eating or drinking. And even when it comes to snacking options, there are many complaints that children are at home and they end up eating more of oily snacks or junk food items like French fries. But instead, you can modify the snacks and give them something like carrot sticks or something made with beetroots, like beetroot chips, to make the snack items more interesting, so that
Interesting.
so that the children should enjoy what they're eating. It shouldn't be like a compulsion to them. And I totally understand that children have a sweet tooth. They love eating chocolates, cakes, ice creams and all. Do not condemn them, stop it completely. You can give them like once in a week or twice a week. They can eat that as well. But you can actually modify the recipes. Like if they love cakes or something, you can ensure that you can actually prepare at home itself. And you all can make something like banana muffins or oats cupcakes, so that you're making it very interesting, and try to involve the kids also, so that they know that whatever they are eating, it is good for their health, and it's like fueling their own body. Like you're giving them calorie dense foods, which are rich in proteins, good fats, and good carbs. So that way, I feel that it's important to include nutritious items in a child's meals.
Great. What you said is 100% true. That
Yeah.
children have now actually they'll be relaxed and they'll be having breakfast at least, because they would run away otherwise. But what about parents? Parents will have a big toll that they have to prepare so many things.
Yeah. So one more thing is, for example, like when I was a kid, I used to watch this Popeye show, right? So that in that cartoon, what it was shown was, it was about spinach. Like the Popeye was the lead actor, and whenever he had to fight against his enemies or the villain character, he used to consume spinach as like an energy dosage, and he would get that power, and he would
Big
have that
muscles.
hit the villains. So children, just watch that. The idea behind the cartoon is to, to cultivate that idea of nutrition in child's minds, like in children's minds. Like spinach is so nutritious. Like if you have spinach, you'll get a lot of iron, calcium, and you're all
strong person. I think something. Is it my?
Yes.
No, doctor. We lost her, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, then by the time Kiran comes back, so we'll ask a question. To this question to, I think we lost you, Kiran. Some
some connectivity problems. So
talking about Popeye show.
So
eating spinach.
Yeah, that's so rich in iron and calcium. So that way we should cultivate, like I feel that interesting TV shows should come up for children to ensure that they understand the strategy behind what they're trying to show, like the importance of nutrition.
Yeah, right. That's a really nice narration actually, and you gave a very good example of Popeye show. And I don't know what is coming around right now. What is the Cartoon Network that my son has grown out of that, so I don't know how he's into some other thing now. Dr. Suvarna, talking about chocolates as an incentive to the children. We generally, as parents, when we visit other children or when we get back home, we buy a chocolate or something sweet, something nice, and we give it as an incentive, like maybe we show our affection with that. And using food as an incentive, how the impact would be on children? You think it's a good or bad or both?
It's a good thing. Giving the food as an incentive is a good thing, but what you give as the food is more important. Instead of chocolate, you can give some homemade foods, which is like red halwa, what she's trying to say. Like, so make something food or some mineral food, like the homemade swagruha foods kind of things. You can make it instead of the chocolates. That would be better, because especially the sugar content have a high calories, and nowadays most of the children are hyperactive, and it is very difficult to manage for the parents, and that's in the school also. In fact, I used to suggest the parents not to give chocolate, don't mix sugar in a milk, and try to avoid the high calorie food and other things. Usually, I suggest to the parents who are like come for counseling with the hyperactivity and who get easily get less attention also. I do suggest them not to go for chocolates and other kind of foods.
Yeah, I think we parents, we have to practice so that they imitate us, right? The imitation is one of the learning a learning thing that happens with the children right from the time they are born. Did you get my question, Dr. Suvarna?
No, it was getting, your voice is breaking.
Yeah. I was talking about the imitation. Children, they imitate parents and the society around. So, does it start right from the birth?
Yes.
We need to have a better practice. Like as parents, if we practice having instead of chocolate, having good some other sweet which is the homemade and which is more nutritious. So I don't say chocolate is bad, but though.
I don't say chocolate is bad, but not every time. Especially
Yeah.
the youngsters, it's not that good. They get complications, health complications with that. I observe that most of the kids who are having, like, they become too hyper actually, and especially nowadays, the student life is so sedentary. In this sedentary, they're having a high calories. They don't know where to spend that energy. They'll end up in overweight, and concentration issues while listening to the classes. So in this COVID time, if they are at home and in front of the system, can you imagine, like, so there are anecdotal studies saying that if the kid is more into watching the TV kind of a thing, I usually suggest not more than 45 minutes of a TV per day in a screen. Otherwise, your eyes flicker. Like in a movie, like usually the screen, you have many characters, right? And you have many things to do. Over a 17 screen, like you see a lot of things and your eye is continuously moving here and there. While coming to the studies, the letters, whatever the text is there, it is a static kind of a thing. So the child who got used to TV or other shows from the very early stages of life, he didn't get used to fix it on a word particularly. That is also one of the issues for not able to focus on a studies. And I've conducted one eye tracking study. Eye tracker is which, it's an infrared camera. It captures your eye movement. It captures where your fovea is. So where the person is looking, they will see that it captures the camera and you can see the line. Actually, you can see your eye gaze movement. So in that, I observed that the child, even normal child who's got exposing to the screens, you're not able to fix it for the minimum 250 milliseconds, which you are supposed to fix it to grab that information. In order to record, like, we need the minimum 250 milliseconds of time, but that is not there. It's less than that, and they keep on moving here and there. Like, they don't fix it at one word. Actually, they're fixing the eye gaze is moving from one line to the next line, and it is jumping. So that is the problem to read and understand that. So that comprehension is lacking. They don't read, they cannot memorize the spellings. So in that way, I said it is a hypothetical question. Like when you asked me in the initial stage, like, is it good or bad to according to the thing? The both ways are there. So how much you are restricting your child to the screen, that you have to decide, and you need to make them watch like more static, just present on a PPTs kind of a thing instead of a videos kind of a thing. That would be helpful actually.
How can we motivate them from being static to physically active children? Because they are now, and even with online classes, they have to sit and look at the computer screen. So how do we motivate them to be physically active?
So we need to explain the child actually, even for the parents has to inculcate this. Put all the screens only during the work time, let them be on the screen, and later time let them be spend some time with the paper or the text or books or some kind of thing. They have to come back to the textbook reading kind of thing. Let them read everything, though their teachers might be giving the PDF kind of things. Take out the printouts and give it. That in some way it will help the child actually to reduce the strain on eyes and getting used to this kind of thing.
Okay, thank you. Kiranmai, do you in your practice see obese children? Nowadays we get to see a lot of obese children. And with this being at home and having the food to their likes and being less physically active, do you think
Yes, ma'am.
they
A lot
going
of
to?
overweight children
Hmm,
usually come and complain that they're actually more than their ideal height. Like their body weight is actually more compared. Like for their height, their weight is really high. They're
right.
actually overweight or obese children. Either they are undernourished. The nutritional requirements vary from child, from a person to person. What I believe is now in this during this lockdown time or during this COVID-19 situation, children should be more proactive, and they should spend their time in a much more productive ways. Like at home itself, parents can ensure that their children are performing some sort of physical activity. Like they should be physically active as well, because diet plays 70% role and 30% comes from the physical activity. Like they can actually bicycle, or they can do bicycling, or probably walking, jogging, or at least home chorus works. Like they can do some gardening work by watering the plants, or any sort of physical activity by helping their parents in the household works like dusting or cleaning, or cooking, or any sort of physical activity where they're not just lazily sitting or sleeping around in one place. They should keep themselves more active by
Hmm,
moving around, because since they are at home, hardly they have any time, and they don't end up doing any sort of physical activity. They are actually, like, most of the complaints which I'm getting are like, they just sit at home, they just eat, they're sleeping, and they're studying. So
hmm.
hardly there is any sort of sports or games at home. So my suggestion is some sort of simple exercises they can actually do at home, like jogging, or on the terrace at least they can perform some sort of physical activity, or some sort of exercises, or some traditional yoga where their parents can teach them. Because at a tender age, whatever it is taught, they'll carry the same sort of lifestyle even in their later stages of life. So I
Right.
feel parents play a major role now, because children actually just they observe their parents and they behave like them. So there are so many behavioral changes, psychosocial changes which are occurring currently. So I feel that parents should behave like proper role models for their children, and they should cultivate good eating habits, good lifestyle changes among them, so that they become much more better productive individuals even in future. So
Great. That's really cool. So at the end of the day, we have to step in a right manner so that our children follow us. So that's the
because children represent their parents in
yes.
every manner. So I feel that it's their duty to teach them. And coming to nutrition, as I already mentioned, it's important to ensure that children are following a balanced diet, and at least inclusion of 2 different types of fruits per day, or fruit juices. Like they should understand that fruits and vegetables are so colorful, and they should include different types of fruits and vegetables in their diet. They should diversify their diet, and they should include more of whole grains, lean protein. So when I say lean protein, they should understand that good eating habits, like good protein intake, comes from chicken, fish, egg whites. So at an early age, when they're slowly they're eating all the healthy and tasty items, they can actually follow the same sort of diet and lifestyle habits even in the future. So I think this is the right time to teach their children all sorts of good
Mhm.
habits. Yeah.
So that's a positive side of being at home.
Yeah.
There seems
Yes.
to be more benefits being at home than going. And I feel the biggest thing that I feel is like they don't have to carry such big weights on their back. So many books now, that is not there for them. I think that is one of the
Now since
best
home and
parts.
learn so many new skills, so many cognitive skills. They can actually read so much of like there's so much of knowledge out there, so they can read some interesting concepts on the internet. Or parents should actually cultivate such good habits among their children, and try to teach them new skills. cognitive skills. Like they can, like for example, if they're right-handers, they can teach their children to write with their left hand as well. Because I am an ambidextrous, I can write with both my hands. So that way both sides of the brain functions well, and some sort of new skill so that they can actually enhance their talents and all that. So and one more thing I want to tell is nutrition plays a major role in enhancing the brain metabolism as well. So parents teach their children that they should not skip their meals. Like after breakfast, they should ensure that they're having a healthy morning snack. It could be a fruit salad or a vegetable salad or something like a fruit juice or buttermilk. Some sort of nutritious or energy dense foods should be given. And even in lunch, they should try to include millets in their diet. Something like ragi or quinoa or brown rice, some sort of healthy eating food items, but it should be even tasty as well. I'm not telling them to stuff them with some sort of food item which the children don't. It should be prepared in a much more healthier manner. For example, if they love biryani, they can make it with brown rice. So just some simple tips to enhance the nutritional value in their diet. And evening snack options also, as I already mentioned, they can have something like a dry fruit laddu or shake, something which is going to keep them strong, healthy. At the same time, they don't put on a lot of weight. So it's like a balance of all the nutrients. I'm trying to include all sorts of healthy items in their diet to make the diet more interesting. And because I totally understand that children are such fussy eaters, and they're very picky. Because me as a child, I was a very picky eater. So whatever the child likes, it depends upon the parents' interest, how well they groom their children into making them better individuals. And now I feel it's the best time to teach them so many new skills.
True.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kiranmani. Dr. Suvarna, talking about now we've been talking about normal children, but the biggest challenge is with the special children, which is your area of research. So tell us about how we're going to deal with the special children, because like other children, online classes and all are not really possible with them. So how do we deal with the special children?
Nutrition support for neurologically.
Dr. Suvarna, the question is to Dr. Suvarna. Later we'll come to nutrition support.
Okay. With the special children, we need to check like the therapies. They might be having much tougher time for the parents, basically. Some of the parents they got trained in handling the kids and doing some diploma courses and just parenting training, how to handle. Now this is a time to know more about the child's behaviors and actually about, suppose I'm giving an example of an autism. Okay, so the mother needs to know, parents has to understand what exactly autism is, know their child. No need of understanding all that, because in general when you go to the website, they give the sensory issues, they try to give a list of things. So you need not work on all the things, because the child might be having one or the two issues from that. So usually what happens, they get confused with that and they try to implement everything. No, it's not necessary. Observe your child, understand your child requirements, and then work only on that specific issue. It's not necessary to need to implement the whole thing. That's the first. And coming to the training part, it's better if they have a one-to-one session. The mother has to sit and give a kind of a passive training to the child. So is that the therapist is directly involving with the child, actually. Okay, mother's role is not, their parent role is not. But in a passive training, I suggest that the therapist, if online therapies are going, and let the parent get trained and get the instructions from the therapist, like how to hold the baby, how to sit. They need to plan this and do accordingly. There are in different stages. Autism is also, it's not that some are like the high spectrum and some are in the lower, and non-verbal are there. So each one will have a different requirements. So it would be better if they are into a structured learning kind of a thing. That is more important. Like they have to schedule the day in such a way they engage the child for the whole 14 hours or whatever it may be for the whole day. Okay. So they need to schedule that. They have to plan it and work out with the kid. And I know it's the parents are working and it is very tough time for handling that.
Right.
Go with the cognitive activities like this building blocks and colors, sorting kind of activities. So these kids also almost they're very much interested in doing this kind of activities. So let them go with that kind of activities to be better.
So parents will have lot of work to do with
Yes.
special children because
Yes.
they have to be one-on-one.
One-on-one. And the mother
One on
be
one.
very patient. They need to take time for their relaxation also. As they frustrated with the things they cannot handle the child, and the child will get more frustrated with this
Right.
impact.
Maybe
So
in between breaks would help for both of them.
yes. Sorry?
Breaks in between
Yeah, if the
therapy,
both the
like
parents
a
are
small
there,
short
both the
breaks.
parents are there, they have to take the turns in handling the kid. Let them
Yeah.
relax for it. That's the best
Okay.
option.
Okay. What about attention deficit children? They jump from one activity to other, and it is highly difficult to
Yeah.
satisfy them. Parents will get really upset with that.
Yes.
What do we do?
Even for these attention deficit and the hyperactivity kids, also the structured learning is very important, and they have to do a lot of dot joining. For example, if the kid is around 5, 6 years old. If you want to make the child sit for a 45 minutes, so give some kind of dot joining kind of a thing, activities or sketching.
Okay.
So because it's not like, see, already the child is in a hyper, and if you're allowing the child to jump here and there, the child will never get used to get the constant behavior. So choosing the activity is also one of the important thing when dealing with the special kids. So don't join the hyper kid to go for karate or a kung fu kind of a thing, because they're going to uh, implement the old skills on parents. That's very difficult. Like, it's not advisable. So let him sit on one place and give a like atoms chess kind of a thing. I know it is very difficult even to train that also, but initially start with dot joining, sorting, counting kind of activities where the child will sit for some time and spend some more time in sitting calm. And the other part is the nutrition also does play a very good role in calming down the case, like what kind of things that then might can suggest more foods which reduce the hyperactivity kind of a thing in case her study on it. And structured learning, in fact, if the parent is trying to spend more time with the kid, that's the mother especially is giving a lot of time, and the mother is working and if she's at home. And I think for the attention deficit kid, try to seek parents' attention more. If you're able to give that kind of attention, I think there is the 50% of the issues will be reduced. If you can spend
Right.
time, understand your kid, instead of saying no to things, try to understand why the child is saying that is more important. You said don't say that you want, if the child is switching, watching TV or something, don't say don't watch TV. Ask him to divert the thing, like please come here, let's please help us in this, or try to divert, okay, let's go for shopping, or we'll do something, we'll do online shopping, come and help me in choosing these kind of, try to divert the child instead of, when you abruptly say stop TV, watching TV, they will not listen, they'll get irritated. So we try to divert the child. That's the best way of doing it.
So the word yes has to be used.
Yes. And if the child is very insisting on something, try to understand and try to explain. Never say no to the kid.
Yes.
One thing, like when you say no, he gets irritated, he will cry, the child will cry. Like when you say like, okay, we'll do it. Say yes to the child, but take a pause. Take a pause to it. Okay, we'll do it, but I need time. I'm doing this. Try to explain and then dive instead of, don't make the child wait for his turn. And the turn taking is also very important, because nowadays I've seen, even if I go to the shop, the market, the child shows the tantrums out there. He doesn't get anything, whatever they want. Like, so that is another. Try to make the child give some pause in between when you're talking, so that make him understand, okay, I will get this, but I have to wait patiently till I get it. So you need to, don't give, and even when purchasing or the child asks something, don't give it immediately. Take your time, so that you will get, the child will learn to wait and for certain things in life. Actually, these are some of the important things that parents need to understand. So how you have grown up, like how your parents have treated you. Have you ever behaved in the same way how your kid is behaving? So we need to go back and check how parents have brought up us, like how they're doing us. So you need to inculcate the same thing from your parents. You need to adapt the same thing from your parents. Just go back and check once, and that would be better.
But the parents say, no, the times have changed. You know, we didn't have any
Times have
laptops
changed
or
because
anything
see
before.
the economic condition has, but in fact we are going back to the same condition.
Correct.
What our parents said. We are
Right
going
now.
back 20 years now.
Yeah.
See the economic condition of now the present scenario is like very difficult. Most of the parents are jobless. They can't get everything whatever the child is for. So you need to think all this thing. In fact, in this pandemic time, most of the parents are stressed out. They have to take care of their health.
Have you lost
It's
Subarna?
not a situation. Like one has to prepare a lot, and I know it is too stressing. The situation itself is too bad, but we don't know how long it is going to continue. Are we going to continue this for some more time? That is also nobody knows actually. We all are waiting. We know what only today is important. If you ask me, don't think about the future. Just plan for today and try. If you have done well for today, that's fine. Don't keep a lot of expectations. Even don't expect too much from the kid also, and let the kid understand the same thing, like to explain in such a way the child will understand. Okay,
No,
because it's not getting time to go for the shopping. It's the total lifestyle has changed now. So you need to take care, consider all these points when you're dealing with the kid. So that the parents need to sit and talk, like how to handle it. The partners has to, the wife and husband, both the parents has to sit and consider all these points and try to explain the child. Like, so now we're in this situation, we can't do this. It's not like before. If everything gets okay, we can get back to the normals. That's a good thing. But we don't know when the schools will start. When that is a big dilemma now. The schools is going, or we have to continue with the same thing. Also, we don't know how long we have to go. We don't know anything about it. So in that scenario, like it's better they try to explain the kid, and it is important to know train the child also in letting him know the responsibilities from the early age. That would be very good.
like give them a task to hold the responsibilities.
Yes.
That probably that will help. See, Neelam is asking about how now the on parents the work has tripled, doubled, tripled, and much more than that now because of this COVID times.
Yes.
So there'll be a stress on parents as well as kids. How we are going to give us a few tips, like how we cope up with the stress, and there'll be a frustration as well. Kids get frustrated, even parents get frustrated, and at times we also land up in depression as well. So
Yes.
a few tips on how to cope up with this.
So initially, first thing, like if you are good at some kind of physical activity that really helps out come out of stress, physical activity like yoga or deep breathing exercises, or even for a 20 minutes or half an hour walk, if you can able to make it out, that's a great thing. And have a planned diet, and you can take the nutritionist help in taking the food what you're supposed to take during this stress period. And third is you can listen to the pleasant musics. That's the best thing. And read about some good journals or something, some novels if you have a habit, or listen to the speakers. Like there are a lot of videos out there online, like how to get rid of a snake, or if you're good at, if you're spiritually you want to avoid, just go to Sadhguru's videos, or you have many videos and number of videos. Listen to it and how to cope up with that. And the good thing is like try to calm down yourself and try to balance your day. Like try to balance your thing in a day. You plan your day in a proper way. Like get up from at 6 or 5:30, whatever it may be. Plan till 10 o'clock. You make your schedule in such a way so that it will not disturb your work and another work also. So that you give priority. And first of all, you give the priority. What is important, do that first, and then, because most of us nowadays, I see this issue is we are hanging with WhatsApp and other issues, other screen thing with communication thing. Okay, I agree that we are not able to go out. We need a though we are maintaining a social distance, actually is a physical distance we are maintaining, but not the social distance. We are continuously online, not at all good. And you might be missing a lot of time also. You're wasting time. See how much
Correct.
wasting on it. So cut out the time if you want to prioritize something. If you have a very important task, finish that. Keep the apps in a mute condition, especially the WhatsApp and whatever, Facebook, whatever, maybe for a mute for some time, finish the task, and then during your breaks, come back to get this, but not sit on this and you can't do the both the things. So it's better if you reduce the screen time. Again, it's hypothetical question, more or not. And
Yeah.
thing is, if you are maintaining a good diet, diet habits and regular exercise. Exercise is one best thing to, you know, get rid of the stress and depression. Like, so if you,
Sleep also we
I
need
know
to.
it's very easy to tell. I know even for me also it's like very tough to talk about all these things. But if you're in a depression, you need to see whether it is a clinical depression or it's only kind of a stress related. It's only a conditional kind of thing. And then if it is a clinical depression, you have to definitely meet a neurologist or a psychiatrist to get to come out of it. Or else if it is only the time being, the psychologist will definitely help you to come out of it. So plan your day and sit and talk to yourself first. Understand yourself. What is necessary?
Right.
What is more important first of all. Don't listen to. I'm not saying don't listen to your husband. Don't listen to your parents. Something. Sit first and think what condition we are. Why this problem is coming out. That you need to understand. You need to know why the issue is coming on. Where is the issue first of all? In cognitive behavior therapy, we will sit with the client and we will know. Look, okay, you're seeing this is a problem. For whom it is a problem? Is it for you or for others? And have you, where it started? That is more important, right? So, 1 minute. Okay. So, 1 minute and something issue. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Because I just lost the screen. Like.
No, we are able to see you very well.
Yeah, fine. So you need to understand like how to cope up. Coping up again, I'll come back to it again. But first think, sit and think. If you're not able to discuss with your close friend or someone, put it on a paper. What do you want exactly from the life? What is your expectation? Don't think about other expectations. First, sit and sort your own expectations. Like, what do you want and why you're facing, why you're feeling this. First of all, is this an issue? Is it a really issue for you or for others? That is also you need to understand. Then the matter comes, okay, when you see that in a paper or in a clear picture, if you have a clarity in your mind, what exactly the issue, then it's easy to find a solution also. If it is in your vicinity that you can handle the thing, it's good. If you're not in a position, then seek the help of others or any other. You can reach me or anyone, any of the psychologists, or put it on a Facebook and see how you're going to get the issues. It's not, you're not the only one who is undergoing this issue or any kind of the problem. Many of us are already undergone the problem. So they might have suggest you something. You will have some or the other suggestion. So don't think that you are the only one who's handling this kind of issue. I know when you're in that condition, you definitely feel like that, but you have to think out of the box actually. Okay, this is a situation. How do I handle it? That's the first question. Okay, I'm in this shit and nobody can help. If you already started saying nobody can help you for yourself, you started thinking in that way, then definitely nobody can help you when you cannot help yourself. Basically, in this kind of situations, you have to help yourself. You can't expect the help from others in this kind of pandemic situation.
But can parents
find a way? I'm not saying there won't be any problems which doesn't have a solution. You will have, definitely you will find a solution for it.
Now, with this kind of continuing with the same question, Neelam is asking, people are like especially teenagers and young adults, they're taking sleeping pills to sleep because of the stress, not getting sleep, and they're keeping awake till late nights and all that. So, any tips for that? Okay.
If your teenagers are there, they need to reduce. Let them wake up early. One day they might get 1 or 2 days. They will get an issue. They're having an issue if they get up early and start the day early. And try to end the day early, like around 11 o'clock maximum. They can get back to the bed. If they get up around 5, I think if they are working hard, let them do a vigorous exercise one day. If they can. Work out for 45 minutes of yoga or something, definitely they'll sleep by 10 o'clock or 9:30. Ask them to mute the mobile. And the other thing is, if they got used to caffeine or tea kind of a thing, not after 4. Let them have before 4 p.m. That also will definitely affect. And they can have a good shower and have a pleasant music during night time, and just like breathing exercises also will definitely. This is a bit of relaxation music are there online, and you can get relaxed with their body. That can really help actually.
So does the same thing holds for mothers also? Mothers are more worried because kids are not.
If they can able to take the time for all these things, that's a bit. I know for mothers, it's from morning 6 to 12. They are like it's too busy. They will be busy. But if they can take time for themselves, that would be a great help. Like even for coffee is not advisable after 6 hours. If those who are having this insomnia kind of thing, they're more stressed also. That is also one of the reasons. So let them go for a. Best thing is physical exercise. They can do a lot of physical exercise, and that for 2 hours, 2 3 days also. I think they can set back to the routines actually. They try it. It will definitely work out because it does work for many of my clients. So it really works out.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Suvarna. And we'll shift to Kiranmai for more questions about nutrition.
Yes.
Kiranmai, there are at least 3 questions for you. Number 1 is what kind of food that we can give to special children? And first that question, then we will go later. I'll ask you the other question. Again, I don't want to pose 3 at once. What kind of food that you suggest for special kids?
So
Like
now
autistic and people with the neurological problems, any other neurological problems?
Yeah, so nutrition support for neurologically impaired children, it actually requires a multidisciplinary team approach, like doctors, dietitians, nurses, therapists. It's like a combined support, madam. And one more thing is like there are different factors which will be taken into account to give a special nutrition plan for special children with certain, impaired disabilities. So for example, I'll be checking with their food allergies, their height, weight, their body mass index, their food habits, and then only I'll be able to suggest them what actually suits their body type.
Right.
Because the same, like as there is a saying that one size does not fit all. So the diet, the nutrition plan it keeps changing from person to person. And especially with neurological disorders, then children are like, it becomes really difficult for the parents to handle special children. So it shouldn't be a fixed diet, or it shouldn't be a monotonous diet. I feel that the diet should be diversified, because basing on the child's nutritional deficiencies, the diet plan is given to them. Because people with such disabilities, they'll have various nutritional deficiencies. So
Right.
basing on their deficiencies, the diet plan is being given to them. Yeah.
Okay. What about other question is what kind of diet for ADHD child, attention deficit child? What do we suggest?
So basically, ADHD children, they are hyperactive, and so what happens is what I suggest is they need to avoid simple carbohydrates, like all the simple sugars, because suppose if the children eat candies or chocolates or cakes or something, what happens is it is going to trigger their brain metabolism, and they tend to act in a much more hyperactive way. So it is better to cut down on all the simple carbohydrates, give them complex carbohydrates. Again, for some children it will be a gluten-free diet where completely wheat and meat products are avoided. So especially for ADHD children, what to avoid is all the simple carbs and simple sugars should be avoided.
But they crave for a lot of sweetness, right?
Yeah,
these ADHD children, they want more sweets.
Yeah, the diet. I usually give them different recipes which will compensate for that.
Sweetness.
So yeah, it could be, it should be rich in fiber, it should be rich in when I say complex carbohydrates, good carbohydrates, again, wheat and wheat products should be given in limited amounts, or absolutely they should be avoided from the diet. Basing on their food habits, again, the diet is going to change. And include fruits and vegetables can be given, but again, fruits, there are certain fruits which contain excess of natural sugars. So certain fruits, vegetables are also restricted. And when it comes to chocolates, children, obviously they'll have cravings for chocolates. So once in a while, parents end up giving them, but a strict diet should be monitored to children. Like from time to time, they should ensure that they're taking specialized care, like a special nutrition support should be given to ADHD children.
What about diabetic children? If they want to have a chocolate, would you advise?
Yeah, definitely I would advise. Not on a regular basis, but yeah, once in a while they can definitely munch on a chocolate, because completely it is not right as a dietitian for me to eradicate what they like from their diet. But Yeah, for example, if you give them a chocolate which is rich in dark chocolate, or which is little lesser in sugars or something like that, or you can give them a chocolate with some dry fruits to it, so to make it more nutrition dense.
Yeah, maybe you
And
can mix
not
it with the
necessarily
fruits or something, or
something
some
like
other,
nuts,
yeah,
dry
nuts and
fruits, to
all.
make the diet a little more interesting, so the
More
child is
complex.
satisfied, or she is getting what she likes, but we are enhancing a little bit more by adding something else to it.
Now they're at home, and of course, once they are not exposed to different kind of environment, they'll be constantly in one particular environment.
Yes.
We as human beings, we develop our immunity over a period of years, like right from childhood till whatever age
Hmm.
we are right now. We have developed because we are exposed to various environments, various foods, and everything. Now the children are at home; their exposure is limited. So how do we improve their immunity from the day-to-day foods from the kitchen? This is from Dr. Unni Krishnan, who was a previous speaker for us. He's asking how do we develop a increase immunity from regular home kitchen.
Okay, so to boost the immunity power among children, it is important to include iron-rich foods, vitamin C-rich foods, and vitamin A-rich foods. Like all the yellow and orange fruits and vegetables are very rich in vitamin A, like carrots, pumpkins, mango, papaya. All the seasonal fruits and vegetables, which are yellow and orangish in color, are immunity function in our body. It's important to include vitamin A and vitamin C rich food items as well. All the oranges, sweet lemons, or at least lime and honey water, and broccoli, and all the dark green leafy vegetables like spinach, then methi leaves, drumsticks. They're rich in vitamin A and vitamin C as well.
Okay.
So all these food items should be included in the children's diet at a very young age. Like these are actually locally available as well. All the vitamin A, vitamin C rich foods and iron rich foods are also very important. Like if the children are non-vegetarians, they should include mutton liver, red meat at least once or twice a week. At a younger age, probably iron rich foods can be given to them, and even eggs should be included as a part and parcel in their daily diet for children. And chicken and fish also should be included.
Right.
And suppose if they're vegetarians, they should include more of green leafy vegetables. And even in dals as well, they should add some leafy vegetables to enhance the nutritional value of the dals. So that way, these are something which are locally available and easily available even for the parents to prepare at home. So these are some of the food items which have to be included. Vitamin A, vitamin C, and iron-rich foods actually help in enhancing the immunity power in children. Along with that, even fiber-rich foods, like all the fruits and vegetables are packed with antioxidants, fiber, and various vitamins and minerals. So my suggestion to all the parents is they should include at least 2 different types of fruits per day in their children's diet. And vegetables are also a must. Like vegetables should.
Okay.
We lost her again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's now she's back. Okay. Kiranmai.
Yes, madam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about vitamin D?
Yeah, vitamin
Because
D.
they are not exposed to sunlight as such, and what do we, any tip that should we expose them to sunlight in the terrace or in the balcony sometime, and what foods for vitamin D?
Madam, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So for vitamin D, it's important to include milk and milk products in the children's diet. And if possible, like even at home itself, a little bit of exposure to sunlight direct or indirect sun rays are actually helpful. At least a 10 to 15 minutes of exposure is really important.
Okay. Dr. Suvarna herself, she's asking
Okay.
education screen time now to that of video games and video screen time. Do you think now the school time spent on the screen is harmful before the video game? Now, children have this habit of playing the video games. This question
Can
is
you
to
repeat it?
Dr.
It's not
Suvarna.
clear.
Yeah, I think this question
Yeah,
is
can you repeat the question?
sorry, Kiran Mai. This question is to Dr. Suvarna.
Okay.
Now the screen time of children is there right now because they have to learn. That's online. Along with that, they also play video game and both everything they're doing with the screen only.
Yeah. No, I
Okay.
didn't get your question.
Dr. Suvarna. Dr. Suvarna, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. So the question is, the screen time of the children has increased.
Yes.
Right. So they have to learn from the school classes, from the screen itself, and they also are playing video games, etc., on the screen. So the screen time has drastically increased. So
Yes.
what do you suggest for them? So that's the question by Dr. Unikrishnan. Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously they have to reduce it with the screen time. See, when they're spending more time on the screen, let them not play on the video game. Let them play something else. Try to understand the child's interest basically, and try to develop a new hobbies. That would be better instead of playing sedentary kind of a video game is a sedentary thing, right? Let them go out, play some shuttle or something outside if they have space. Indoor games like carrom or so. I'm trying to inculcate the habit of some other, just divert it to something instead of playing a video game because they're already spending a lot of time on the screen. So it's always better cut down all the things. So after the classes, I feel it will be better. Parents have to make a plan, schedule in such a way they don't get into that thing. Even the parents has to do the same thing. That's what I already suggested that you better reduce the screen time.
Children will get angry on parents.
No, if the parent is not holding the mobile and when I'm holding the mobile for a long time and I can't ask my daughters to don't hang up with WhatsApp or something, I need to put that aside and come and sit, talk to them, right? So do the same thing. Like you have to spend time without that. That would be better. So before instructing the child, correct yourself and then do it. That's
True. Always it comes back boomerangs to parents always. So whatever we do to children.
Yes.
So Kiranmai, I just want taking the same lead. What about when the screen time increases? So our eyes are always on work. I mean, more than our body, our eyes are working. So how to take care of eye health?
Yeah, what I feel is they should reduce the screen timing to at least less than 2 hours per day so that it won't increase their eyesight. If it is not possible, then probably they should eat vitamin A rich food items that will actually improve their eye health. Like at least every day 1 cup of carrot juice, or they can munch on carrots and they can watch TV. But I'm not suggesting that they have to watch TV, or I'm not encouraging them to play video games for a longer period of time. It is better to minimize their timing. As I mentioned in the first initial starting of this talk show, I mentioned about planning a proper timetable, like a scheduling, like how much time are you spending on the screen, and what you need to compensate for your eye health is to ensure all the micro and macronutrient rich food items. I mean, like in your diet, all the nutrients should be rich with vitamin A. That will actually help in eye health, madam.
Yeah,
That will help in improving the vision.
Right, that's really good. Thank you for that. Before we close, I just want to ask a few personal questions. So, how do you keep fit and healthy, and what are your hobbies?
Okay, so my hobbies are playing badminton, and I'd love to explore different parts of the world, madam. Like I love traveling a lot.
So
And
what
I
is
like,
in your bucket list?
like this year I was supposed to go to Dubai in the month of March. I had an international research paper to present there, but unfortunately this COVID-19 issue had come up, so that thing has been postponed. But still, I consider that as a blessing in disguise.
Okay.
So maybe I should visit Dubai and London very soon, probably once
Okay.
things are sorted. Yeah.
Okay. So enjoy your trip when you go,
Thank you.
and
Thank
bring
you.
back good memories to us and
Yes,
share with us.
definitely.
So you like cooking?
Yes, I love to prepare new recipes, some interesting recipes and all. Weekly once I try a new dish at home. It's more like an experimental dish, but it turns out well.
Who are your guinea pigs?
My parents and my sister.